welcome to today's video, which is going to look at Man United versus Liverpool tactical review. We've got Ryan from In the Red joining us. How you doing, Ryan? You okay?
Yeah, good. Very good.
Nice one. So we're going to have a look at the massive game between Liverpool and Manchester United on Sunday. Nerve-wracking. We've got tickets. We're going to go. So let's try and unpick what's going to happen. So from the press conference that Ole Gunnar's just given, it looks like there are a few injury doubts. So actually, the expected team might be a bit different. So, what do you think the lineup's going to be on Sunday, Ryan?
Well, even though we spoke about this yesterday, and I gave my Ollie, and I went on about how Ollie isn't as flexible as a lot of other coaches, and I gave a 4-2-3-1 expected. I've changed my mind now.
Yeah.
I think like
it's all that championship manager that you had. The championship manager in '98.
No, I think if you think back to the season before last, I think it was the season when United finished third. I think when Ollie had a tough run of fixtures, and he just ground through them by tinkering with various formations. And I think he's going to do that tomorrow. I think he's going to do tomorrow what he's done to Liverpool in the past, and he's done to City in the past. And I think he's going to go three at the back. And
this is interesting because we've not spoken before, and that's interesting you say it. But go ahead.
And I think he's going to put Rashford up front with Ronaldo and have Rashford running in behind.
Rashford's one of the injury doubts, isn't he? Though.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing.
I don't know if it's smoke and mirror nonsense, and he's trying to I think it might be a little bit of that.
Yeah, I think it.
So you go in. Sorry, so you're going three at the back. Who are you playing? Are you bringing Bailly back in, or?
No, I don't think Ollie would ever bring Bailly back in. I would play De Gea and Shaw, Maguire, and Lindelof as a back three, and then Tellez on the left.
Have you actually hacked my computer? By the way, go on. Tellez at left back.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back, and then depending on whether Fred is injured or not. Is it the same? Yeah, Fred and McTominay.
Yeah. My handwriting's that bad. It could be. It barely looks like it's English.
I think if Fred is injured, like in the press conference, he said Fred's carrying a bit of a knock, so he might be a doubt. I think he'll play Pogba. I think if Pogba plays in the pivot with McTominay with a back three, I don't think it'll be that. I don't think it'll be that easy to to just pass through them in the way that it normally is when it's them.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think Bruno at 10. And
he's an injury doubt. Bruno's an injury doubt.
Yeah. I think.
So you're saying Bruno at 10?
Probably play Lingard. If Bruno's injured, I think he'll still go with the same formation. I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was against City. I'm not sure. He played a three at the back and a three up front with Lingard as a false nine.
Yeah. I remember.
Lukaku on the right and Rashford.
It was the City that I remember.
Yeah, was it City?
Yeah, I think we won.
I think he's going to do something similar.
Yeah. I think, and then obviously you playing Ronaldo and Rashford up top.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to drop Ronaldo. I'd like to say Cavani deserves to play up front because he was pressing, and that's the way to get at Liverpool. I think to have a really aggressive, counter-attacking approach to the game, but I just think. It's when Ronaldo keeps scoring, and bailing the team out. It's really difficult to drop him. Like, it's really difficult to justify not having him. And even if he doesn't touch the ball for the whole game, he keeps showing over and over and over again that he just needs that chance at some point, and he'll score. Yeah. And I think now, Ollie knows that he's got to get through the next. I think there's 3 or 4 games where. He needs to get points from, and even though they're a difficult run of games, if United don't pull out performances against Liverpool and against City and against Spurs, I think Arsenal as well, just after the City match, if they end up dropping points in, a few of these games, you can find yourself 8-9 points behind the leaders by, before we even get into November and mid-November. So that's you don't want to be if you're out of the title race in mid-November and your Champions League hopes, you've only just qualified out of quite an easy group. I think he's going to find himself in a similar position that Jose was around Christmas.
Yeah, because especially if you lose 2 or 3 games, and immediately it's so. I think that actually piles a lot of pressure on the players as well, because you've got that situation where a mistake can lead to then further scrutiny, and then big, games that aren't that big become huge games. So I think, but in terms of the team, I've gone for 5 at the back. Actually, I've gone for I've gone for your back 4, Shaw as the third centre back. I was toying with putting McTominay as the third centre back, but I've actually got McTominay and Fred in front of them, so I'm going ultra defensive. And then I've dropped, regardless of injuries, I've dropped Bruno and Ronaldo. I've played Lingard in front of Fred and McTominay, and I've got Rashford and Cavani up front. And tactically, I'm going to detail Lingard with marking the fullbacks. So if the ball's on Alexander-Arnold's side, he runs out, closes. If the ball's on Robertson's side, he closes. And then I've actually maybe not Cavani, but I want one of the forwards to come back into midfield as well. So effectively, I want to play one up front. And then, as we discussed, our little Sam Allardyce chat, I'm going to go long. I'm going to try and just hit Rashford. If Rashford's not fit, I'm going to play Sancho. In fact, I was tempted to even drop Cavani and play Rashford and Sancho and have them as wide forwards, so that Liverpool don't really know how to pick them up, and just then have them running in. So I just play a lot of direct passes. I think the key tactical thing, as you touched upon, is to close the passing lanes. You can't, that Leicester performance, you can't have Salah getting 8 or 9 chances, because he's going to score twice. He's going to score a hat-trick. You need to stop the supply to them. And actually, if you look the past 3 or 4 years, their fullbacks are their most creative players. And so Thiago's out injured. Fabinho's probably going to come back in, and it's going to be Henderson and another. Milner might not play. Maybe it'll be Jones or someone like that. But basically, that block of 3 midfielders is like a workman midfield. So it's really stopping that ball to that front 3, which is the issue. So I think also it's really the 2 fullbacks and Van Dijk. So in a way, you want to make sure that you've got Lingard's energy pressing onto Van Dijk. So force him to either pass sideways, but don't let him head up, have 10, 15 yards of space to then knock balls, because actually Liverpool are quite good at recycling even bad balls, because they've got Firmino and people like that. And United are not good with, passing out of defence. So I think that's key. I don't think that you can play the 4-3-3 or the 4-2-1-3, because actually our wingers don't defend at all, really. So you need to, even Pogba may be a good shout to roam around as a number 10, but I really think that you want to suffocate them, and then maybe you want to try and win it in the last 20 minutes if you can, with some changes. But I wouldn't go toe to toe with them, and I'd probably take a draw now. Ultra negative, I know, but I just think that you kind of stop the rot. You stop that. Because these games are 6-pointers. Because if someone beats you, not only do you not get the 3 points, they also get 3 points. So you need, in a way, and I think Ollie did that last season. We drew, if you cast your mind back to that 0-0 at home to Arsenal, which transpired to be a really good result, because it was in sort of October, November, and then we went on a really long run. So it kind of you want to keep, ideally you want to win the game, but I think that United need to be wary of Liverpool's threats,
I think I've seen a lot of analysts giving previews of the match, and you see a lot of people saying with those players, United need to go toe to toe with Liverpool. I think it might have been Gary Neville who said it as well. He said, with that attack, United need to, push Liverpool and go toe to toe with them. But I think with the amount of imbalance in the team, I don't think you can do that. So I think the plan for Ole, whether fans who want to criticize him for having no tactics or
Yeah.
being a counter-attacking football manager, whatever. That'll be less important than getting a win. And I think if you look at Liverpool this season, I mean, I've said, a good few fixtures ago that Liverpool seemed like that team that, whilst because they had a bit of a injury-plagued season last year and didn't finish as well as they would have liked to. I think people are sort of doubting whether the team that won the league the season before last, a lot of the players are a couple of years older, whether that team's going to be able to replicate what they'd done before. So Liverpool kind of were left out of the conversation a little bit.
Yeah, it was nonsense.
When they were talking about title contenders, it was all about City.
It was Chelsea. Like Chelsea were
United,
like,
yeah. Liverpool was sort of left out of it, and I think over the first, half a dozen fixtures, City didn't even have a shot on target against Southampton, and United have had some really poor results in the league. And while that's been happening, Liverpool have just sort of under the radar slowly just put results out and put wins away and got points on the board and sort of crept up without as much pressure or expectation as a lot of the other three, or as the other three. So even though that's the case, I think, and you have to be careful with them. If you look at some of the fixtures they've played, they have got weaknesses that you can exploit.
What do you think those weaknesses are, Ryan?
I think, well, the Atletico game showed that they can be quite vulnerable. But there's also the argument that Atletico are a way better drilled team than United. And
do you think that Van Dijk's lost a yard of pace?
Yeah, I don't know. Possibly. I don't think he had a great game. I saw someone saying that even though Liverpool won, it was probably the worst performance they've ever seen Van Gaal play for Liverpool. Van Dijk play for Liverpool. Yeah. And but yeah, I don't know.
I'm horny.
Yeah.
I like my players to be horny.
Yeah. Oh, but
I miss Van Gaal.
If you, me too. I miss his character. I don't miss the football.
Do you remember Fellaini went, "You only pull so much hair in sex machismo."
Crazy bastard.
That was at 5:00 on UK TV.
Yeah. Speaking of Van Gaal, though, he always beat Liverpool.
Yeah, he definitely had the hoodie. But have you seen the stat, by the way, that Liverpool have only won twice at Old Trafford since Fergie retired, and it was one of them was last season
today. Yeah.
So
I saw Carragher speaking about
touch wood. I don't want to curse it, but I don't know if they travel that well to Old Trafford because all of the anxiety we have about the Anfield game, they will probably have the same. Because although they always say Everton's the biggest match, it's not true. We know that we're their biggest rivals, and they're our biggest rivals.
I saw Liverpool knock United out of the Europa League at Old Trafford under Van Gaal, actually.
Yeah. That was a Coutinho won it 1-0. I remember. Exactly, we were a bit unlucky, actually. But I was
sat in the stand where, like 4 or 5 rows behind the Liverpool fans that unveiled the flag thing when Coutinho scored, and there's United fans trying to throw them over the balcony.
Yeah, it's a bit mental, really. Did you see that Gary Neville went to Bootle and interviewed Jamie Carragher? It's like they made him ask, like, what do you think of Gary Neville? And it's like, I hate Gary Neville. I hate him. Like that, a few of them. But that was interesting.
I saw when he was walking down Carragher's street or someone's street, and he said, "My mother-in-law lives there," or something. He goes, "Should we go in for a chat?" And he says, "She's not in. The car's not there." And Gary Neville goes, "To be fair, it could have been
stolen." Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, anyway, what was I saying?
So tactically, so how do United
spoke about Van Gaal?
Yeah. So
I think the weaknesses. It's maybe Van Dijk a little bit, but I think if you watch not just the Atletico game, but if you watched the Brentford game earlier in the season, Brentford managed to get three goals in against Liverpool, and most of them came off long ball crosses to the far post.
Yeah.
So I think if United can have runners, if Rashford's injured, it complicates things because Dan James is gone now as well. So having a rapid player, I mean, Sancho might be able to do it, but I don't think he's as quick as Rashford or James though.
Oh, Rashford,
But
he's quick, Sancho.
yeah, but I think
He's quick with the
Rashford's like
ball as well.
Rashford's sprinter fast though. Like
Yeah, he's
getting
rapid.
in behind players, especially someone like Trent, who his weakness is like I think Rashford is Trent's kryptonite. He's exactly the type of player that
Yeah.
Trent doesn't like defending against. So I think if Bruno isn't
How
carrying,
how bad do you think Trent is as a defender? Like, what's your view?
well, I think defensively he's quite poor, but because of the way Liverpool play, you don't see many examples of it because he's not put into that many situations where where it shows how poor he is
But he looks
defensively.
like a rabbit in the headlights. When someone
Yeah,
runs
yeah.
against him, he literally can't take it. Like, it's not just one or
Because
two
he offers,
games.
yeah, but because he offers so much going forward,
Yeah.
and because Liverpool have so much of the ball, I think there's not many occasions where you get to see how poor he is because he offers so much. Because a lot of teams are so terrified of pushing him or putting him back in his own half and in his own defensive areas that Liverpool will break them on the counter and he'll be a big part of it. That a lot of players that he's up against don't come, they don't try
Yeah.
and test him on that because they're terrified of what Liverpool can do in response. But I think United have the players and if Bruno doesn't play, I think that complicates it a little bit because then you'd have to play Lingard and none of them have the passing ability of Bruno except Pogba. So maybe Pogba could play a bit further up, and if McFred plays, I don't know. I do
It
think,
depends how you want to play though, because like assuming you don't go toe to toe, the only way you're
yeah,
going to win is counter attacking by letting them have the ball and letting them come onto you and trying to close the passing lanes and the spaces. And in order to counter attack, you're going to have to play long balls to Rashford to
yeah,
run. You're going to have to have runners. Lingard's a runner. Like his movement's good off the ball. And I feel like in a way it could be a blessing if Bruno's injured because, like on a one-off basis, a lot of the big results United have got, we've not necessarily lined up with all the best players.
yeah,
We've lined up with a system that's been very irritating, where we've essentially allowed the opposition to have the ball. Obviously, Paris Saint-Germain, City generally have most of the ball, and then we've hit them on the break and been clinical, and
yeah,
then also on a few occasions our number 10 has marked their number 6. And I think that that's something that you look at. I don't think that Liverpool have got that player, but you could ask Lingard to do a job on Van Dijk or one of the fullback or to cut out the supply because if you want to stop them at source, it'll make it much easier to defend against them. So,
yeah.
but okay, let's flip it on its head. United going toe to toe with them. Like, are you talking 4-3-3 or like,
Yeah, um, Liverpool don't really play with a 10, do they? So it's
no?
more of they play like quite a bit of a flat midfield three,
Yeah.
with a creative player and a hard
It's
working
like a
player, or a
6 and
couple.
2 8s, isn't it? Really,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
Yeah.
But neither eight are like Pogba or what Bruno sometimes
Well,
plays
probably
with,
like Kate is the closest one, and
Yeah, yeah,
he probably won't play. He's not
yeah.
really
They're
ripped.
quite defensive eights. Considering that in the modern game, a lot of eights are sort of a hybrid of an 8 and a 10. Like the way that Man City's midfielders
Yeah,
play, or a lot of other teams play. Your central midfielders are kind of also attacking midfielders, which is why I think there's so few teams playing with a 10, like an outright 10. That's why
yeah,
all these tactics do seem a little bit different to a lot of other teams, which is, he doesn't have the hipster tactics that a lot of other clubs have got, and I think that's also one of the reasons why he gets a lot of criticism from people who think that his tactics are a bit outdated because he isn't playing the style of the day that a lot of other teams play.
yeah.
But I think because Liverpool play like that, it would be. I just think the United can play a completely different way, and I don't know how you would
Well,
be able to
yeah. I mean,
match them
like,
at what they do.
yeah, you'd really need to like, in order to attack them and to stop them, you'd have to push their two fullbacks back. So like the logic of being attacking is that Alexander-Arnold and Robertson are defending, something which they don't want to do, and you've got them near their 18-yard box.
Yeah.
If you do that, then you will stop them having, lots and lots of diagonal passes, because you basically know what Trent's going to do. He's going to play 50, 60-yard balls to Jota if he's playing, or to Mane, diagonal balls. And they're going to attempt to start attacking in our final third. They don't particularly build through the thirds. I mean, their best player in midfield is Fabinho, and he sits in front of the defense, and he's got decent ability on the ball. So if you did go toe to toe, I would put someone on Fabinho and try and stop him dictating play. But I don't think I think it'd be a naive to go toe to toe with them.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it can. And I think it's also, even though that style that we've both said now of the 3-4-1-2 or whatever it is, or the 3-4-3, however we play it, I think that who you would put in that back three is also not really, obvious, because would you try and put Wan-Bissaka on the right of a back three to deal with Mane? Because
no, because then you've got to play Dalot. I wouldn't play Dalot.
But if Wan-Bissaka's playing as wing back, he's got to be a little bit further up than he is when he's playing as a fullback.
He'll probably tuck in though. United can play 5 at the back, and so. Yeah, I mean,
but I just think if that happens, you have Lindelof having to deal with Mane, and fast attacking wide forwards are not, as we saw the other night when he was taken on a ballet class by Zapata. They're not.
Zapata,
they're not the type of players he does well. I remember he was, he lost. I think he lost a header to Schlupp.
Jeffrey Schlupp for Palace. When Palace beat us 2-1
just quick.
The start of last season.
And then whoever ran onto it, I can't remember who it was, but that type of fast counters, Lindelof isn't great at it. And
to be fair, United are not going to play a high line. They're going to play a low block. So, the problem with the pace shouldn't be there, because there shouldn't be lots and lots of space for them to run in behind. I mean, I thought about, as I say, putting McTominay back there and then having breaking up out of the defense. But I feel like Bayern Jones, I don't trust. If Varane was fit, I think I'd just drop Lindelof actually and still keep Shaw. I think Shaw's got. I was at the 0-0 about 3 years ago. Liverpool United at home. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. 0-0. Salah was on massive form there, and Shaw dealt with him. Shaw's strong. Not many people.
He went quite a while without being able to score at United against United.
Yeah,
Salah,
we've probably cursed it now, but but Shaw can deal with Salah, because actually Salah's deceptively strong. He's actually a really built player. Firmino is going to drift around a bit. So you're right, Mane is the only other issue. So I think Wan-Bissaka's going to have to tuck in and help Lindelof. And that's why I think Lingard is good as a 10 to then be, if Robertson's on that left flank where Wan-Bissaka is, just Lingard just be there. And maybe you could play Dalot there, but I don't think that he's not going to bring him back for a game like that. So
no, I don't think that's good. Especially
too much of a big match.
The last game he played against Villarreal, he was terrible.
He was pretty bad. He was pretty bad. Yeah. So
I don't think he's getting brought in for arguably the biggest game of the season.
No,
against Liverpool.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. So how much do you hate Liverpool? Is this the biggest game of the season for you, or is it another game?
Yeah, easily. Always is. There's
Anfield away seems bigger somehow because it's just.
I think any away game to go into the territory of your biggest rivals always.
Yeah, it is.
Always the
biggest. Have you ever actually enjoyed any of the games? I've never enjoyed any of the matches ever.
No, I think
they're horrible, aren't they?
Yeah, but saying that, I always feel like that. But during the game, I'm thinking, why do I put myself through this? Then after the game, if there's a result, there's the best feeling you could have from a football match, especially beating Liverpool. But I don't know. Like a friend of mine supports Arsenal. Asked who is your biggest rival, Liverpool or City, or who do you consider the biggest
Arsenal,
rival?
isn't it Spurs?
No, it was Pad. It's my mate Paddy who asked me who supports Arsenal.
Shout
he
out
said,
to Paddy, top guy, Paddy. Yeah. Watch this video.
other than supporting Arsenal, but he said before, who's the biggest rival, City or United, City or Liverpool, and not only is it Liverpool, it's not even close. Like it's not even like
he said it was Liverpool.
No, I in my opinion,
he asked you.
Yeah, my opinion, who United's biggest rival is.
Oh yeah. Well, I actually, but like I probably dislike Leeds much more than I dislike Liverpool. I don't really like. I think it's dislike. I dislike Leeds.
It's different though. Like
I can't stand Leeds.
With Leeds,
if you are a Leeds supporter that subscribes to the channels, please don't unsubscribe because we've not got many subscribers.
I think it's a different,
I like Leeds Rhinos,
kind
though.
of thing. I think with I don't really know many people who support Leeds. So Leeds is far enough away that even though it was a kind of local rivalry. No, but what I mean is, it's even though it's kind
the same
of a local
rivalry than Liverpool.
Nah, no way.
Of course it is. Liverpool's like 30 miles. Leeds is like 32 miles.
No way. It's double. So that's at least
Google that.
Maybe
in the comments. Can someone Google and tell us whether Leeds
twice as far as Liverpool easily? But I think it's far.
No, it's not twice as far as Liverpool.
It is.
No way. Liverpool's like
we'll check it up.
30 miles.
We'll check when this video goes out. It's going to have a little disclaimer in it that says,
"Yeah,
Leeds is twice as far as Liverpool." By the way.
Are you certain of that? Do you fancy a bet on camera? You fancy fancy lunch on Sunday? Whoever
have you just researched it on your phone?
No, I can't. I'm gonna go Manchester to Leeds distance, right? Kilometer distance. So, oh god, yeah, it's 71 kilometers. Remember that 71 kilometers. Manchester to
Liverpool's about what, 43 or something? 44?
Liverpool 56 kilometers. So it's not okay. Yeah,
nearly twice.
Not nearly twice. Not nearly twice.
50% further.
It's not.
It is
50
and 70.
56, yeah, 56 and 70. So it's about 20% more, 20-ish% more.
But
you can't argue with maths, by the way.
But
lies, and statistics.
Because it's over the Pennines and such a difficult journey.
As the crow flies. If you go to like Todmorden or whatever.
Because it's such a difficult journey to make. Double. Because you've got to go across the highest motorway in the UK, I think it is.
Yeah. Have you ever done that in like a crappy 1 litre car?
Yeah.
Scary, man. The car
the foggiest motorway you'd ever drive on, in the early morning as well. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. Leeds.
But that's
good
why
team,
you don't go
Leeds,
to Leeds.
To be fair, good team.
That's why you shouldn't go to Leeds.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, to get back to it, and Liverpool is by far, in my opinion, the big one, and I think it's different.
Why is that though? Because like City have obviously been the most successful team in the past 10 years.
Yeah, because with City, I was just about to start a sentence with no disrespect to City, but I'm never going to say that. I'm never going to say no disrespect. With all disrespect to City, they've won all these trophies. They've won a domestic treble. They've competed in all these, gone so far in the Champions League, consecutively each season, and they've won three Premier Leagues in 4 years. But it seems that around the world, nobody really gives a shit. Like it seems like the response to City's massive amounts of success is kind of falling on unasked ears, because
unasked ears. What a fest. There's like the quote of the video. Unasked ears. Beautiful, man.
It doesn't have the romance or the narrative, this great football club narrative that it would mean. Like when Liverpool
can barely fill the stadium on big matches.
Exactly. Come
on, like
when Liverpool won it, it was a much bigger, it felt bigger than when City have won 2 in a row or whatever.
It's horrible.
And I think also
it was horrible when they won it.
Because as a United fan, you know that in Manchester, this idea that most people support City is nonsense.
Yeah, it's garbage.
It's not even 50-50. It's probably about 80-20 United fans. But because you know that, and because you know that City have still only won, 7 leagues or something, they're just so far behind United on historical scale that when City beat United, or when City buy all these players or they win these trophies, it's still you still have the ability to think they still don't feel like a big rival in the grander scheme of things. Whereas with Liverpool are a team who are in the same league as United. They're a football giant like United is. Like Liverpool United is one of the biggest fixtures in football, just because they're the 2 biggest teams in
even
England,
if both teams were in mid-table and not very good, it'd still be one of the biggest. If
City and Chelsea were playing each other in an FA Cup final on the same day that United and Liverpool were playing each other in a league, more people would watch United and Liverpool than that.
That's just the fact
with City and Chelsea.
Yeah,
I think that's why Liverpool are a much bigger rival than City,
Well, it's those. I mean, it's not only that; it's actually the fact that they, even in the 90s, were our biggest rival. People said Arsenal.
Yeah.
Arsenal were like a direct opponent, and then obviously Chelsea. But like, even then, when they had like Houllier,
even earlier,
that was still the biggest match.
When Liverpool in the 70s and 80s, when Liverpool were winning all these European Cups and all these league trophies, United were beating them in cup finals.
It was always weird, isn't it?
United were doing like what Liverpool did to United in the 2000s.
Yeah, because they had that period with Houllier where they just we literally couldn't win. They won at Old Trafford.
Dirk Kuyt kept scoring. Like Dirk Kuyt would score and they'd win, or Danny Murphy would get a goal and
free kick
through the 2000s. Liverpool were that team that just managed always to beat United, even when United were, the best team in Europe at the time. And I think United were that team to Liverpool throughout the 70s and 80s. United always seemed, Liverpool would have been the first English team to win a treble, a league, an FA Cup, and a European Cup. But they weren't, because United beat them in the FA Cup final, right? And then United became the first team to win the treble in '99. Yeah. So there's always this.
Go on, Ryan. Boom.
Storytelling.
If you support Liverpool, fuck off. I'm joking. Please join us.
There's always this narrative, which is, I'm surprised United and Liverpool have never faced each other in a Champions League final yet.
Do you not feel like it's also a Liverpool and Manchester thing? Forget about United.
Yeah, of course.
Because it just goes deeper, doesn't it? But I feel
But there's no rivalry between Everton and City.
There is though, because but
not like United. That's what I mean.
Man. What, like 15 people fighting each other, 7 Scousers and 8 Mans.
Yeah, there is like the civic rivalry between United, Manchester and Liverpool. But I think the success of United and the success of Liverpool takes it that little bit further,
but like to be fair, Everton are actually a massive club compared to City. Like, people don't realize how well supported Everton are in Ireland and in like other countries. Like, they're just not a global brand like Liverpool or United are, but like they are in this country a much better supported club. Everton are going to build a stadium that's the similar capacity to the Etihad, and I guarantee you they'll sell it out.
Yeah.
So like they've got a much more fanatical fan base.
With the exception of Arsenal, Everton have won more trophies than all the London clubs.
Yeah.
So
but like it's not even trophies though, is it? It's more like, as a club, City are not even in. If you were to say that like City are there, Everton are there, and United and Liverpool are up there, like you can't say that City Rovers are going to win in the next 10 years more than Everton probably will win. It's probably nailed on, but it's just a different. I feel like underneath all the hatred, and there is hatred, is actually a grudging respect. I actually feel like it's. I do. I feel like. I also feel like it's the respect has increased in the past 10 years. Because of the new money that's coming to football, your Cities, your PSGs.
Oh yeah.
Like, I feel like United and Liverpool fans sort of say, okay, because like Klopp took over a team that was pretty poor, and his net spend isn't that high. Obviously, the Coutinho money masked that, but you can't say that like he didn't do an unbelievable job. Like he bought Robertson for 7 million, he bought Salah for 35 million, he bought Mane for 35 million. So like he basically took him some time. So I think that there's a little bit of a respect for Klopp actually as a manager, and I think that Liverpool as a team, even in the 90s, played like good football. And by the way, man, I'm not just saying this because I'm currently living in Liverpool, by the way, in case someone sees me in the lift and knocks me out. But no, I feel like Liverpool's an institution. United are an institution. Although everyone says United's a commercial club, United is still an institution. Like the stadium's an institution. And whatever you think about Anfield, it is an institution. Whereas like the Etihad, like whatever, it's just like a very sterile place. Even like playing Paris Saint-Germain, it's like whatever. Like, so I feel like there is a grudging respect.
When Fergie retired, I had to go and cover the story I had to come back from Berlin and cover the story about Fergie retiring. And whilst I was at Old Trafford, like reporting on it, someone from the Daily Mirror came and spoke to me because they needed someone to speak on camera about Fergie retiring. They were like, it's only going to be 10 or 20 seconds or something, and asked me about.
Did you say Fergie's gone? You put on a proper...
No. Can't believe it. No. They asked me.
Give it gigs there.
Yeah, they didn't say that. They asked me, can't say that now either. Oh no.
But for legal reasons.
They asked me who
allegedly.
Allegedly. They asked me who I would replace Fergie with, my choice, and on camera I said Klopp from Dortmund.
Really?
So hopefully that video never surfaces.
I hope I'm going to find that. Yeah. Well, you can't. I mean, like he's basically like a left-wing guy, and he moans a lot, and he suits the Scousers because the Scousers moan a lot. But Klopp's a left-wing guy. You know that Carragher is. You know that Gary Neville is. You know that Fergie is. Like, these are like working-class guys who've obviously got a lot of money and are doing stuff. I had actually someone on a video say that Rashford's a member of the elite, and I answered, have you ever been to Wythenshawe? Like, Rashford's not a member of the elite. So like for us, where like football in the past 20 years has got really commercialized, you feel a certain connection, and you can understand. I mean, like Benitez, I don't like Benitez, he's an arsehole, but like Klopp, you can kind of understand that, like, he's pro NHS, he's anti-Brexit, he's left wing, so
these supporters that you're talking about, United. The supporters that you're talking about, I think the Super League referred to them as legacy supporters.
Yeah,
I think that's
legacy supporters.
Yeah, I think that's
horrible, isn't it? But yeah, so I feel like there's that connection. Also, like, you know what? This might sound like a barb towards Liverpool, but there's actually nothing to do here. Like, if you go to North Liverpool, and I've been there a few times, there's fuck all to do. There's literally nothing to do. So you may as well, like, there's actually quite a lot of areas in Liverpool that are actually really impoverished, and people are die-hard Everton or Liverpool fans, and they're actually into their football. And I think a lot of people on low incomes go to Anfield and are probably paying like 800, 900 quid, which is a fortune. And I feel like football means a lot in Liverpool. People say the Beatles, but I think the Beatles is a tourist thing. So I think that's why Liverpool have still got that thing at Anfield, and United have still got it, because contrary to popular belief, the match-going United fan is from Stretford, they're from Wythenshawe, they're from Harper Hay, whatever, and those guys have been going for like 30 years, and they're as mank as you can be, and they're hard as nails, and they're like, they support the team. Very few of those lads are booing at half time. It's kind of the other, as the other sort of newer fans that do that. So I think that the cities as well, obviously it goes back to the Manchester Ship Canal, stealing all this trade, and Liverpool's docks were in terminal decline anyway. And actually it's a really interesting story. Ironically, all that Dockland area is being regenerated now. But obviously that hatred goes back to that period. But I still don't think the hatred's as big as United and Leeds. I feel like that's a bigger hatred, really.
I think it depends. The Ship Canal thing depends on where the historian you speak to comes from. The Scouse.
What do you think, Ryan?
Well, the Scouse historian will say that Manchester cut Liverpool out of the trade, whereas the Mancunian historian will say that because the Mancunian traders needed to use Liverpool's docks, it became super expensive because the dockers were skimming a lot of cash off the top, so it had to be done that way. But I don't know.
This is from a guy that refused to go to the IKEA in Warrington because it said it was in Liverpool. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's not
okay.
True.
That's cool, man. Right, so shall we wrap it up with a score prediction? What do you think, Ryan?
I think I've no idea. Yes, when we spoke yesterday, I said 2-2, but I think United might win it 2-1.
Really?
Yeah, I think United might go 2-0 up with the aggressive style of play and then tail off a little bit and concede later in the second half, but manage to grind it out. But it could also be 5-0 to Liverpool. So
yeah,
who knows? Depends which United turn up. It depends on so many things with United. This is another thing. What Liverpool are going to do. You know who they're going to start. You know who they're going to play. You know exactly you know what they have to do. But it just depends on so many different things with United. It depends on who's fit. It depends on which formation he tries to, beat Liverpool with. It depends on who plays in that formation. I think
exactly, man.
That in itself highlights how Liverpool are in a much more comfortable position than United, just in the fact of how settled they seem compared to United.
I think, absolutely. I think in sport, right, and this is something I said to someone the other day. I said, if you want to judge a sports team or like a sports person or whatever, judge them where they finished when they're not doing well. So Djokovic on a bad tournament finishes in the semis. So when people were writing off Liverpool, they basically had no defense for like 6 months and they still finished fourth. So that tells you.
They finished third, didn't they?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, apologies. Yeah, they finished it. So so that tells you the level that they're at. Like Alisson, is there a better goalie in the world? I don't think there is. If not, I don't know. Maybe Oblak, but he's definitely the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. He saves them like 15 points a season. But so anyway, the point I'm making is that they had everything go wrong for them and they still finished in the Champions League places. So to write them off with Van Dijk coming back, with they bought Konate, he's not really played, has he? But he's got a decent pedigree.
I didn't think Konate was going to make that big a difference anyway. I remember when Liverpool fans were raving about how they'd bought.
He's injured a lot, isn't he? Actually, he's been injured an awful lot. I
think in the 4 seasons he played for Leipzig, might be 3 seasons, but 3 or 4 seasons he was a Leipzig player. He played less than 40% of the games.
But absolutely. But having said that, he's still better than Nat Phillips, isn't he? So it's like you upgrade the squad. So if you do get an injury, the drop off isn't from Van Dijk to Nat Phillips, which is a huge drop off. The drop offs from Van Dijk to Konate, and that's kind of the thing. I actually had this electrician in, and he was saying to me that Joel Matic is Matip is actually very underrated, and I was like, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yeah." So he was raving about Matip, and I was like, "Please fix my electrics and go."
Didn't you also speak to a Liverpool fan that was like, "Can't believe Wijnaldum's gone. He's the best midfielder in the world."
He did say that Rob Jones was the best right back of all time, but yeah. But yeah, so all right, awesome, man. Okay,
we're guilty. We're guilty of it as well, though. Like,
yeah, we are because we had, we've had a few, haven't we? Like, I mean, you can probably say Martial's in that category. Martial's was disappointed, I.
yeah. I think only there's like a certain section of United fans that think Martial still has it in him to just have a season where he wins a Ballon d'Or. Like, but then
Yeah, but
the other 70% of United fans are just sick of seeing him walking around and jogging around. But you still have these. There's a type of football fan now that gets really attached to individual players more than they do the club that they play
Martial
for.
FC.
Yeah, and I think Martial's one of those players. I think, Pogba's another one of those players. They have like,
yeah, but Pogba is an elite player. Like he's,
of
he
course,
really is elite. I think that yeah, you're right. You're kind of in an echo chamber of your own football club. So I think we had it with Angel Gomez, didn't we? Youth play, like we have it with youth players at United a lot. Brandon Williams. So like, if you look at it, like they're obviously really good players, but like,
I think with the
not
youth
elite.
players, I think they're just, Liverpool have another one of those teams that have a lot of. It means more to have local scouts, youth players come into the first team in the same way that United have as well. And that's another thing that.
Well, City have got forward.
Respect that you were talking about.
Yeah, but like City have got forward and whatever, but like it wasn't their intention to blood Foden. Foden's just that good that like they have to play him. But like their intention is to buy players. I get the feeling that Liverpool, I mean, United are streets ahead. United bludgeon players, probably because the Glazers don't want to spend money. But you get the feeling that clubs like Liverpool want to actually have maybe 3 or 4 players in the squad who are from the Merseyside area. And actually, it stands you in good stead because if you think about like the Merseyside derby, the Manchester United and Liverpool, like did Luis Suarez really get it? I mean, maybe he did. Does someone from like Brazil really care that much? Because the Brazilian players for United and Liverpool are hugging each other, like does it like when Gerrard and Neville and Carragher and Giggs, like they probably hated each other. There was definitely hatred in the air.
When you look at these one club ex-players, like and you have some current players that will probably, be a little bit similar. When you look at even the pundits on Sky Sports News and things like that, and on Sky Sports, this sort of character of being a one club player that you have with Gary Neville and Paul Scholes, you also have it with Carragher and Gerrard. Like there's not many other clubs that have these players that come through the youth system, never leave, win trophies, and retire at the team they came through the youth system.
But also,
you only really get it at United and Liverpool.
But also do it with a team who's scouting the world for the best player in your position. So it should be really unlikely, because if you think about like the buying power of these clubs, like they would replace Rashford if he wasn't good enough. So for a young player to break through, he's got to be unbelievable. Really, he's got to be elite. And I mean, Trent, we've criticised Trent a lot for his defending, but to be honest with you, like he's got a wand of a right foot, and he's a fantastic football player.
Yeah, we've said it before. If because of the changing of the game, he's now an attacking right back. But if he was playing the game in the 90s, he'd be a right-sided midfielder.
Yeah,
he wouldn't be a fullback.
No doubt.
It's just that now fullbacks are expected to be part of the attack, and he's a great, his crossing is elite.
Yeah, unbelievable, isn't it? I mean,
but yeah, I'm hoping
it pains you to say that, doesn't it, Ryan?
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that tomorrow Rashford will pull his pants down again. That's what I'm hoping for.
This is a children's channel. I don't want you to talk about pulling people's pants down.
Metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
I hope your bum's in. Right, man. We should probably end the video.
What's your score? What's your score?
Oh, what do I think?
I
do you know what, man? I actually am just nervous because I can't see us winning. I can't see it because I don't know. I think we're going to lose 2-1. I just so a weird feeling.
Reverse of each other. 2-1.
Well, yeah.
I think United.
I just hope I'm wrong, because I feel like I've watched Leeds and Newcastle and Atalanta walk through us. I've watched Leicester on TV walk through us. If Salah gets like 6 chances, he's not going to miss 6 chances. He's going to bag them. And actually, Mane's come back into form. His goal scoring dropped off last season, and I read an article before that his goal scoring's back up to when they were winning like the European Cup and that. So he's contributing as well. And I think Carragher said actually that like Mane suffered without fans in the stadium. He was one of those players that like, he's a good player, man. United tried to buy him, by the way.
No, I'm
Van
just
Gaal
thinking
tried
about.
to buy him, and I thought we should have got him, to be honest. I don't know why they didn't.
I was just rolling my eyes at the narrative that was around last year that like Liverpool were poor throughout the season because there was no fans in the stadium. And
oh right, I've not heard that, to be fair.
And yeah, that's what they were saying, because there was no fans. And for Liverpool, because Anfield's such an amazing stadium, Anfield and Liverpool felt the lack of fans more than any other ground, because
everyone did, didn't they?
But that's why they did so bad. But completely but that's what happens when someone writes their own references. They completely overlooks the fact that Liverpool only won the Premier League without fans. Like, so if they needed fans in the stadium, well, for the second part of the season anyway, they didn't have any fans. But if they need fans in the stadium to win those trophies, they had fans in the stadium for 30 years and didn't win the league. So that logic sort of goes out the window.
Can I just say that these are the views of Ryan O'Neill from In the Red, a Man United fan channel. If you're from the Merseyside area and want to subscribe to Shaf Man TV, please do. They're his own views, not mine. Please subscribe so we can monetize the channel. All right, man. Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there. Cheers for your time, man. Appreciate it. Looking forward to it with trepidation and excitement. It is like Christmas morning, that Sunday morning. I would say I'd wake up and have a bacon butty, but I'm vegan, so I'll wake up and have some tofu on toast or something and get limbered up for it, and a decaf coffee. So awesome, man. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to Shaf Man TV and also Ryan's channel In the Red. If you've got any comments, please pop them in the comments below. We appreciate any interactions. And if you've got any videos that you'd like us to make or any topics you'd like us to look at, please drop them in the comments as well. Thanks for watching and wish you a great weekend. Thank you.